And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's podcast episode, we are going to be reviewing Too Fast, Too Furious. This movie came out in around 2002 or 2003. Not only that, but this movie also had a budget of 76 million, and it made 236.4 million dollars at the box office. This movie takes place after the events of the very first Fast and the Furious movie. Basically, Brian is now on the run from the cops and hiding out over in Tidge's mechanic shop and everything. He's also a illegal street racer now. He's not undercover or anything. His shield has been stripped away after letting Toretto go from the very first movie. And then, of course, he wind up getting the shot of him driving up to the whole entire legal street race and everything. But what do you think about the opening when we get into the whole street racing thing again? Because here's the thing that confuses the hell out of me. Tej, I like Luda. I like Luda in these Fast and the Furious movies. But when the hell did he become a hacker? Because all he is just a hustler who makes money off of other people in different events in this movie. Then he goes from that to being a hacker.
I don't know. I think, like I said, Tej doesn't show up again for 8 years. Remember, this movie came out in 2003. He didn't show up again to Fast Five, so that's 8 years. And then again, like they mentioned it throughout the rest of the movie about Brian's like, dude, this guy knows everything. He knows people. So I mean, like I said, because remember, like last time we saw Tej, he was getting rid of. I was like, Brian, you owe me a favor. You owe us a favor. So I mean, I'm pretty sure Tej is pretty smart. Like he knows the streets and that. I mean, I think it's like, he probably becomes one at some point because we don't know much of the history between Too Fast, Too Furious to Fast Five. So that's an 8-year gap. So we don't know what's happened within those 8 years. So you could become a hacker pretty quick. Then again, he knows people. That's why Brian brought him in Fast Five, because he knows his way of streets. He knows people. He knows who to talk to. He knows how to get stuff. So, I mean, for him being what he is, I mean, he knows stuff. So, I mean, I think this is just the question, like, how did he become a hacker? I'm like, he just knows it now. So, I think the 8-year gap probably is a good explanation for how he knows this stuff. Because, and then again, same thing with Roman. We haven't seen Roman, and we didn't after this one for 8 years until Fast Five.
Oh yeah, that's right. Roman did show up in Fast Five.
Yeah, that's how, because when they're doing that, we need a team.
Yeah.
Him knowing Tej and him knowing my boy Roman Pierce here, he can bullshit his way out.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay, that's right. I was referring to the villain in this movie. My bad. But
get your ass to Moss, Hauser.
But I liked the whole entire street race thing. I didn't like. Now this time, you remember how I said I didn't mind the colors whenever they were hitting the NOS and everything. And this one, it's forced. It's definitely forced in the movie and stuff like that. It's not something that I really enjoyed. And seeing it back then, it was like, wow, these effects look good. And now it's like, okay, this wasn't that great. But if you actually think about the stunts and stuff like that. And then also too, Tej winds up breaking into the whole entire deal with the bridge and everything too. And then here they come, and he goes, "Well, I have a little bit of a loophole for them that they have to do. Now they have to try and get their cars and jump over the bridge and everything." So there's that part.
Yeah.
But I definitely like that part though. To be honest with you, this whole entire scene reminds me of Need for Speed.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. And that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like a Need for Speed live action movie featuring Fast and the Furious to me.
Yeah.
When you're looking at.
Yeah. I like the opening. I thought it was interesting. Like, again, this is the first time I've watched this movie in years. And when I first watched it for the first time years ago, I'm like, I wasn't a huge fan because, then again, like, I wasn't a huge fan of this one. But when I watched it, I just kind of, it's not that bad. I mean, it's cheesy, sure. But I think I enjoyed this because they didn't take itself seriously at this one.
True.
Plus, we get introduced to new characters, and if we don't know at this time that they're going to show up later on. And when they show up in Fast Five, you appreciate this more because this is how they got started. I mean, and then the Ava Mendes character shows up again at the end of Fast Five as the DSS agent that shows Hobbs. You might want to look at this, and then that just makes so much sense about who's showing up, which I now appreciate more. Like I said, I liked Brian's car in the beginning more in this one than I hated his cars in the first one. I mentioned, like, I didn't like his bright green highlighter, and I didn't like the orange one. The silver and blue, I think that fit well to his style, and I like that. Some of the other colors I didn't really care for, like the dark orange. It looked like a Cleveland Brown character, and it looked like it was someone who was taking a crap on the street. I mean, it's just that, and it's just funny to see some of the other characters, like how many actors that have showed up in these movies, the Fast and Furious, that you don't recognize a point. And I think one of the guys, I think it was that Michael Ealy. He was the guy in the orange car. And I was like, I've seen him in some other stuff, but I know who he is. So like I said, it's just so cool to see now, into like how many actors have jumped onto the Fast and the Furious franchise. But I like the opening especially when how Tej knows who Brian is. So Brian's already got a friend, and then I mean, sure, the race effects were really cheesy, but then again, like I said, as the movies progress, the effects get better. Was the effects as decent as the first one? No, but I mean, it's like I said, but the thing is, it didn't take itself too seriously.
No,
that's what I appreciate more.
That's true. And I like how it sets up him having a friend like Tej around and everything too, because you don't know how long Brian has actually been in this whole entire street race. He actually knows people and stuff like that too. He's been established into the Miami street racing gang and stuff like that too. I love Suski, the girl.
Oh yeah, the girl, yeah.
I wish that to be honest with you, I wish they would have actually brought her back in some of the Fast and the Furious movies to give her more establishment, because I really loved her character.
Yeah, we still got 2 more movies potentially.
True.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can get later in the game, like in fact, and when the 8th movie, if you can get Helen Mirren to join the Fast and the Furious franchise, a well-known actress who's won a lot of Oscars, who's very like for dramatic roles, to get her into either the Red movies or even the Fast and the Furious franchise, you must be doing something right. Because
exactly. Because I feel like now we're at the age and time where these big known actors have their style and mantle already planted on what they did. So now they can actually relax and do something like Fast and the Furious, you know? Yeah. But anyways, I do like the Nissan Skyline. I definitely love what he did with the car and everything. I thought the color schemes really looked good in Brian's favor on this one, especially with the blue light underneath it. I thought that was good. And then, of course, we wind up seeing him get arrested again and everything. And then it's actually the agent from the very first movie that comes in needing his help in order for his record to become expunged. Brian has to go ahead and go undercover. And the guy that they gave him was such a dumbass.
I know. Brian schooled him. Brian was an agent, and he schooled him. Former agent. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
But yeah, here's the thing. I don't blame Brian at all for not wanting to have this guy. He's a complete doofus and everything. It's like, I'm supposed to go undercover with this guy, but he doesn't know James. So why should I go ahead and try and put myself out there and everything, you know? It's
kind of like, it's very reminiscent of Triple X, where Vin Diesel, like he's like when he's going undercover with the in front of Anarchy 99, and then the cop that he's supposed to be working with is like Vin Diesel's selling him out like easily because, dude, this guy's a cop, because he knew he was going to get him caught. And that's why I think this doofus that's sipping a soda, like he went to a pizza area, when Brian schooled him, like, all right, what type of car would you have? A Skyliner 24 or Skyliner 12? Oh, Skyliner 24. Yeah, get this putz out of here. Like, go back. They don't sell
Right.
parts at a pizza place. Like, I mean,
And he goes, "Look, man, if I'm gonna have to go undercover, it's got to be my way."
yeah.
So what better way? He gets Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson, in this film, and then you see what Roman is doing. He's actually working for this. What would the right term to be called for this?
Demolition Derby.
Demolition Derby place and everything. And then we learned that he's actually on house arrest. So he can't go anywhere. And his house is right next to the Derby and everything in the first place. So at first, you know, we have Brian and also Roman hitting each other and stuff like that as soon as they meet up, because they don't get along at all. Mm-hmm. And I liked how the FBI agent was like, when Brian first walks up to him and goes, "Look, whatever happens, just let it go. Because we haven't seen each other in a while. We still have some beef." So basically him and Roman winds up slugging each other and stuff like that. And then finally Brian winds up telling him, "Hey, look, if you want that ankle bracelet off and everything, I can get that sponged, but I'm going to need your help because I also have a record as well." And so basically they wind up going undercover. And I love the back and forth outside of the station. And everything goes, "Man, I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that." He goes, "Well, guess what? You can go on hand, go back to jail." He goes, "I'm not going back there.
I ain't going to Barstow. I ain't
going back."
Before we move on, I want to go back it was like after Brian won the street race. Spoiler alert. Anyway, Ava Mendes, Brian got smitten by her because obviously he kind of knew she was a cop or something. Because as soon as she's like, "Yeah, you might want to get out of here." Why? Cops show up. And that's how Brian gets caught in the first place. And James Remar, who's Dexter's dad, and he's a dick. He's a dick in this whole movie. He's like, oh, like he's all like all authority. And then it's funny because it's the role reversal for the former the guy that Brian sold out because Brian, when they're in the FBI room, Brian, like they said, well, this guy sold out the black guy right here, and he let his buddy go. But it's nice seeing the black guy take his side when in the first one he was bitching at him like, "We're doing this my way," and it's kind of a nice role reversal where you actually get to see him not get shit on and him taking Brian's side, because Brian he ain't dumb. He ain't dumb as that other guy that they try to partner him with, but
Mm-mm. And you see, I feel like that black dude, the cop and everything, I feel like, okay, I've worked with him before in undercover and everything, and whenever he was a cop, even though I misjudged him for what he did and everything, he knows what to do. He knows what to do undercover. So therefore I can actually trust him, you know? So that's something that I really liked about that was the fact that, you know, that undercover
Bilkins.
That agent, Milton comes back.
Yeah,
so I definitely like that.
Yeah, Agent Bilkins. That was the guy that from the first one that's actually helping Brian out this time. So it's nice to see him come back and redeem himself, because he was a horrible character in the first one. Because Brian was just doing what he could because that's what they told him to do. But it's James Remar is the dick in this one, and yeah, God, he was such a dick.
And then, of course, like I said before, Roman, currently on parole, gets into a brief fight and blames Brian for his arrest.
Yeah.
But like I said, he agrees to help in exchange for the same deal Brian was offered for their mission. They are issued two confiscated modified cars, a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution and a Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider GTS. Roman and Brian are later hired by Vernon, who takes the duo to compete against rival drivers to obtain a package. Now, this actually feels like a Need for Speed quest. If I ever saw one, you know, this actually feels like a Need for Speed. Okay, I'm going to give you $5,000 if you can go ahead and go on the special event and get my package. Okay. So, but yeah, I definitely love the stunt work with that, though, to be honest with you. The two truck drivers who winds up crushing the Mustang.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
That was total brutal, to be
I
honest
know.
with you. I hate to actually have to explain that to my supervisor. What the hell happened? Oh, he was trying to get in between us, so we went on ahead and killed him.
I mean, he like. I
Right.
mean, they tried. He tried to be. He drove for their no zones, and
Right.
drive for their no zones. You're that. Not everybody's going to be able to get away like Brian and
No.
that. But I got it. All right. Now I got to go back to hating the color of the cars. Those colors. I'm like, you could have picked a better color than that purple. That purple was pretty bad looking, and it of course is fitting for Roman, because Roman is like he's the bullshitter, so of course he was going to be able to pull that one off. But the color was terrible. It was that color looked like the screen from Loki season episode 3. The screen, it definitely looked like Barney pissed all over the car, and they made it a car and make the car. Well, it's too late now. Let's keep the color. I'm like that. I'm like, I don't like I said. I mean, I don't think like I said that. You guys couldn't have picked a better color, seriously. I thought the first car's colors were kind of bad, but this one, oof.
It goes to show you what would happen if FBI agents or if police officers chose your cars for you and everything to make them stand out loud. Yeah.
The purple makes you stand out, and that's not a good color.
No. And I didn't like that color, to be honest with you. I love the color schemes from the first one. I mentioned that. But with this one, the color schemes for the cars that they chose for Brian and Roman, no.
They should have kept Brian's his street racer car, but they had to destroy that because, of course, we're dicks. You got to destroy everything you like. But that color was cool. The silver with the blue lights, that was cool looking. And I'm like, I think that doesn't make you stand out. Bright orange and purple, and they mentioned that later in the later movies when Roman wants an orange Lamborghini and they're driving in snow. Don't pick that one because it's obvious, because you will be able to see. Everybody can see you. Pretty sure the colors that you chose this one, you're gonna be able to see them. It's obviously the FBI wanted them killed. Oh, and then it was also during this chase where James Remar, like he's Warner Brothers. He's reactionary. Like shit, they're running. We need to go find them. And they put trackers in their car. I'm like, wow, really? You don't clearly trust these guys, and yet you're forcing them to do the job that you don't have the balls to do because you'll get caught. That's really bright. Yeah.
Exactly. And not only that, but we also have the scene with Eva Mendes and everything doing the background checks with Brian and Roman. And he's like, well, he did time for but he's dirty, but he's clean.
Dirty but clean.
And then, dirty but clean. And then he goes into Roman and everything, and he's also dirty but clean as well. And then it breaks back over into Brian and Roman. And here's the thing. I thought I'm just going to call him Harry from Dexter, but because it's still Miami. But I feel like this, though. I mean, basically, they can't do a job that Miami Metro or whoever they are can't do. So Brian and them have to do it. And, and you don't trust them, but here's two guys who's trying to put their life on the line to try and get this mission done, this assignment done. And here he comes, because I think that they're trying to escape. I think they're trying to go on the run. Come on, let's go. You
literally were just with them a couple, not too long ago, while you gave them the cards, and Eva Mendes was with them. And you think they're escaping? What are you, fucking stupid or what? Like, come on.
Exactly. And then Brian goes on ahead, crashes into the fence, opens the fence up, and to try and find out where this package is, trying to find this car that's a Ferrari that's parked inside this parking garage. And it's loaded with boats and everything else.
Ghetto. It's so ghetto.
Huh?
It's so ghetto looking. All of the boats, and you have this nice shiny Lamborghini standing right on the center. It's like, what?
And you know what? You can basically tell maybe this guy might have owned this this place too. Especially, why would you have a brand Ferrari? Clearly, this guy has money. So why is it locked up in the first place, other than just to test them? So, I think he might actually own that boat, that whole entire yard, if you think about it. But, I thought that was really good. And then, of course, they wind up getting the package and trying to bring it back over to the main bad guy and everything, too. But I love what Roman does to Harry. He winds up taking the gun and shooting the cop car and everything. And Brian just looks at him and goes, "You're packing?" He goes, "Like you're not?" He goes, "Get in the car."
Yeah. Well, I loved it too when they show up to the car. Roman's ready to go. Like he takes his shirt off, and then he wraps the finish just to punch through the window, and then Brian just opens the door. It wasn't even locked. I'm like seriously, like you definitely own the place if you don't lock your Lamborghini, your bright shiny red, right in the center of the parking lot. And you don't lock it, and Brian just opens the door as soon as Roman, like he's getting ready to fight. He just wraps his shirt around his fist and he punches through the glass, and then Brian just stares at him as he opens the door.
And I also liked it when he goes, "Okay, you can put your blouse back on." He goes, "Stop hating."
I mean, you just know they two of them have chemistry. Like they have good chemistry on. Like I mean, it definitely shows when they're bantering with each other. That means obviously they've done a good job. Because if they're able to banter like that, I mean, that's why I liked. I mean, he's kind of annoying now, but I liked Roman in the fifth one the most because he's with everybody, and then I kind of liked him in the sixth one a little bit when he kept mentioning the baby oil. But just the chemistry between him and Brian, it's there, and you can definitely see it, and you actually care for these guys.
Definitely. That's something I have to say is the chemistry just works. It's perfectly well balanced when you look at Brian and Roman. And everything, it's just perfect. And you know what though? I want to even say the same thing about Ludacris. I thought that the chemistry with them for his first appearance in this movie was really good. To be honest with you,
they're able to do this and be successful without a Vin Diesel involved. That's the big thing too. Is Vin Diesel probably was a producer, but he didn't show up in this movie at all.
No. Here's the thing: he wasn't a producer yet for this franchise. Okay. At that time, he was getting Disney roles like The Pacifier, Iron Giant, doing all those other roles.
He had basically on this time too.
Yeah, and Triple X. So therefore, when the sequel came out, he's like, "No, I'm going to go in and focus on other things, and if I want to, I can come back to it later if I want to." At that time, so that's why he wasn't in it. He wasn't even an executive producer or anything. At that time.
Yeah, but I just love obviously that this movie was successful without him involved, and then my only one complaint is the poster. Brian does not have black hair, and the poster in the background, Brian,
it's black and white. So
it's black and white, but still, I mean, he looked like more like Luke Evans in this poster. than Paul Walker. I mean, you look at it, you can see it when him staring like in that, and I'm like, I don't know. The poster kind of throws me off because Brian does not look like that, or Paul Walker does not look like that. He looks like Luke Evans in this poster, and Luke Evans is even in this movie. So it's kind of a little misleading, but I'm sorry. I just have to mention that.
No, it's okay. But another thing, too, that I want to mention and this is just because I live in Mississippi, though, but I love the very start of the movie though with the street racing where they actually have that song playing in the background. It's from David Banner, Like a Pimp. I remember that was the rise of David Banner for the very first time. So you actually have an unknown rapper in a movie coming up for the very first time, and the name of this song is called Like a Pimp. And I remember everybody was complaining because that song was not even on the soundtrack at all. But it's your intro. But I thought that was really good, though, to actually have an unknown rapper to be a part of this franchise and everything, and try and get him noticed. I thought that was really good. But anyways, so after that winds up happening, of course, they wind up back over at the main bad guys, Vernon's. Yeah, how come I can't remember his name? Okay, Vernon. Over to Vernon's mansion and everything. Goes, "Well, I see that you got my package." He goes on ahead, opens up the envelope, and all it is a cigar and a cutter, and that was it.
Yeah,
all that just for that. And he goes, "Man," and then I love what Roman says. He goes, "Man, I know you got some food up in there." He goes,
"He's always eating. He's always looking for food."
Yeah. And I love that line though. He goes, "Man, I know you got some food up inside that place now.
Yeah.
I know you got it."
I mean, I just did not like the hairstyle that they have for Cole Hauser. What the hell? It was like, what was it like? Just curly, like did somebody take a crap in his head and they turn into curls or whatever? Because Cole Hauser's hair looked ridiculous, and it's like, is that Cole Hauser? Seriously? Like, I mean, the hairdo was terrible. What, they're trying to give him an afro or something? The guy is straight white. No way he's gonna pull.
I think they were trying to pass him up as like a Colombian, to be honest with you, and that's what they were trying to go for. It just doesn't work. If you don't try and do that. I mean, I know you're trying to go for a Colombian. Get a Colombian actor to play a Colombian role. Don't be whitewashing it and everything. And plus, you got like the whitest name that you can actually think of, Vernon.
Or and then you know that he's the bad guy because he always wears those silk shirts with nothing underneath, so you see his chest, and they walk out and they're white like pants or like fancy stretch pants or whatever. Like, you just know, like, they're very like being a typical, like, okay, we know he's a Colombian mob lord. Like every mob movie has someone that wears the silk shirt with nothing underneath it, like, so you can see part of his
like he's going disco,
I'm surprised he wasn't wearing slippers when he's walking into the car, being the guy. I'm like, he always has people do his job for him because he doesn't like get his hands dirty. I mean, it's just, I just didn't believe, like, if there's one fault with this movie, he's not believable as the villain.
No, he's definitely not.
Like,
but
go ahead. Sorry.
But here, I'm going to get into something else though later on once we start wrapping up, when it comes down to the conclusion of what happens to Vernon. Yeah. Because there's something I want to mention there. Yeah. But and then of course they're eating, and then he goes, "Okay, meeting dismissed." So he dismisses them. They go back over to Tej's shop and everything. And then that's when they get the other mechanic to go ahead and look at what's underneath the hood. Yeah. And then as they go, I like this scene though. I like how the camera angle breaks into what Roman is seeing. Because I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm loving this view here. And it's Luda doing what he is best at, making us hustle, doing the betting, doing the wet skis and everything, jet skis and stuff like that with the competition. And he goes, and I like how he just gives him like a little fist bump, gives Roman a little fist bump, and then he gets back on the speaker.
Before, I want to mention too how Roman is such like he's talking to you and he's like, "Hey, Roman, can I have the cutter thing back?" Because Roman steals the cigar cutter, and like this, you don't even know he did it, but it's just like how he's like so quick of the hand that the guy knew to get the cutter back. And then so that's when they go to Tej's, and then this just how stocked Tej's area is. I mean, it's just like he no joke. He knows what he's doing.
He definitely does. He definitely knows how to hustle. He knows how to get money. He's good at what he does. And you saw where he was trying to bet on this one dude with the jet ski and everything, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Okay, time to pick up, time to collect. Thank you, thank you, thank you." Yep. And then finally we find out from the other mechanic that there's actually a tracking device on the cars.
In the cars, like embedded. It's like very like intricate one that like they'll know if you're not sitting on if you don't even have your seatbelt on, or if you're not in the car. I'm like, okay, how the hell does these people have all this technology, like, to be able to do this in the cars? Like, come on, you clearly don't know what you're doing. That's why Brian's like, I ain't want this doofus with me.
Exactly. And then then we wind up seeing something else happen where it cuts over to those guys in the muscle cars.
Oh yeah, the Cubanos.
Yeah, the Cubanos. And then here we go with Roman. He goes, "Okay, watch what." He goes, "You got this?" He goes, "Yeah, I got this." And then he all of a sudden just comes out with the spray bottle. "Hey, cuz, hey, you want your windshield wiped? Okay, I'll wipe it off." Starts wiping it off.
He lights it on fire.
And then lights the whole thing on fire. It lights their windshield on fire. and everything. So I thought that was really comical and everything too. Then at that point though too, Vernon winds up inviting them also to the club over in Miami to try and see if he can actually trust them. Yeah. But also too, Eva Mendes goes, "You must have made such an impression on him to want to invite you out."
Yeah.
But let's just talk about the club scene.
Yeah. Before that, I want to mention they actually meet back up with the FBI guys in the clubhouse because again Roman's because they find out that James Remar set them up. And that's when Remar is going off. He goes off you should be arrested because you shot me. That's a federal offense. Well, you shouldn't have been tracking us. I thought you were running. Well, we weren't. And James Remar's oh. And then Roman's yo, is this your food? It's mine now. He's there, and then the Bilkins. He's the one that's defending. He's defending Roman and Brian because usually in the first one he wouldn't be defending these guys. So it's kind of a nice reversal. But I just thought that him eating. Dude, he's "Ooh, what is this? That's my lunch. Mine now." And he's sitting there having a good time eating it. I just thought that scene was hysterical with him eating the food.
And he even walks out the building with it.
I know.
Too. He still has a piece of his sandwich and everything. He's eating as Brian is telling him.
Yeah.
And everything.
Sorry, you can go ahead back into the club scene. I just wanted to mention that FBI sequence real quick because I thought it was funny. Roman stealing James Remar's food because that dick deserves everything that's coming to him.
He really does. But he's such a good actor. That's how you know that he's doing his job for us to hate him.
Voice.
Yeah,
it's that deep voice of his that if he gets all scrouchy, that means he's pissed off.
Right, exactly. But okay, let's talk about the stupid club here. The club looks like it's so freaking small. It looks like a softcore porn club studio. It really does. I mean, come on, it's supposed to be Miami. There's no wide shots of the club on how big the club actually is, or anything like that. There's nothing to actually indicate how, or it doesn't give us any good camera angles at all. And that's something that I didn't appreciate with this because I want to get a taste of Miami and everything. And you don't even get a taste of Miami or the love for Miami in this club because it's so small. And then also too, you actually see a dirty cop come in, and that's actually Bobby from Sons of Anarchy comes in. And I love that because that's his second time playing a cop that's dirty because he played on Batman Begins.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely love that. And then, of course, Vernon winds up telling him to go to the back and everything. He'll be back in be over there in a few minutes. He goes over to Roman and them and talks about having a proposition for them with some money involved. Mm-hmm. And then... But also too, he's the real question is, can I actually trust you or not? That's the main thing. And he goes, "Come with me back here for a minute."
It looked like it was shot in multiple locations. For a club, that definitely looked like it was shot in multiple locations. It wasn't one location, and that's not. I didn't pick up on how big the club was until you mentioned it. Now I'm dang. I don't think they could. I think, like I said, I think they definitely thought they shot that in multiple locations.
Right.
It made it seem like it was one, but it wasn't.
Right. Because here's the thing. Back when I first saw it, it looks like it's big, right?
Yeah.
Going back and watching this on a 4K TV and looking at the size of it, it's very small compared to what we get now when we look at club scenes. If you think about it. But then we get into the back of the club, and then he's like, "This is what's going to happen to you if you cannot be trusted." The dirty cop that walked in, who was Bobby, they wind up getting a steel ice bucket. Yeah, it's an ice bucket for a champagne bottle, and then they put a rat underneath it, and then they wind up burning it to torture him.
I mean, that's a different way of torture.
Yeah. So I thought that they played out that well to show that he cannot be, you do not need to cross him.
Yeah.
I thought that part was believable and everything, even though he looked like a 70s disco dancer when we saw him in the mansion part, and we didn't really care for him that much. But I feel like he did kind of have a little bit of a transformation there.
Yeah.
To make us get sold on, but still.
I couldn't stop looking at his hair. He looked like Bargain Bob from that 70s show with the off, like if like his afro didn't even grow into an afro, it just stood there. It's kind of like a brown looking silly putty, or one of those like those Play-Doh hairdos or whatever, or just looked like somebody took a crap on his head and they just made it into curls.
Exactly. And then, like I said, this, as a matter of fact, the name of the detective that they're torturing is named Whitworth.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. And basically, the reason why he's torturing him too, not only to prove a point of what would happen if basically he couldn't trust Brian or Roman, is the fact that he wanted an extra cushion, an extra window before the police actually had a drop.
It's like 15 seconds, I think.
Yeah, like a 15-second head start. So, of course, Whitworth winds up doing it, and then also too, at this point though, and then of course that's when they wind up going over to Markham and everything too, claiming that it is their one chance to catch Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely liked how they played into that, and then they realized too that they need to change their cars because they stand out. Yeah. So then that's when they decided to go with these other guys, the ones that have the muscle cars, was a Yenko 1969 Yenko Camaro SYC and a 1970 Dodge Challenger RT.
Muscle cars.
Yes, American Muscle, which is one of my favorite cars.
Letty, Letty loves those muscle cars. She's a big fan of those as they progress for the series. But I think the reason they got the other set of cars is because they knew they're planning ahead of how this was going to go down. So they need two sets of cars so they can easily get away. So nobody would know. So nobody knows they have these two new cars besides the people that are there. And muscle cars just don't fit for Brian. I'm sorry.
No, but it might actually, to be honest with you, I could see Roman in a muscle car, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Brian, not so much. He's always into the custom cars and the souped up cars, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that part.
Yeah. But go on. Sorry.
No. It's okay. Then, of course, the only way to actually beat them, and you can't even beat American Muscle Cars with NOS or anything like that. So you actually have to try and force the hand of, if you're racing for pink slips, you have to figure out a way to actually get your hands on a muscle car if you're racing for pink slips. So basically, they wind up doing a lap around the barrel. I think it's like 3 or 4 laps. And then Brian winds up playing chicken with one of the muscle cars and everything and causes him to go off track, which also gives them their cars.
Mm-hmm.
Roman and Brian the cars for the muscle cars.
Yeah.
And then on the day of the mission, Brian and Roman begin transporting dual bags of Vernon's money with Vernon's associates. But before we get into that, there's another scene that breaks into this where they talk to Tej.
Yeah.
And everything goes, well, if I were to do this, this is the perfect spot to do it.
Yeah.
And that they're planning something big, but we just don't know what they're planning.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of misdirection in this movie.
Oh yeah, but then again, that's why, because Brian knows the game and how this is going to work. And I think was this before or after when Brian's Brian wakes up and Evan Mendes' character, who Roman clearly doesn't trust because he doesn't trust the 40 thing.
Yeah, that was after. So it was after.
Okay. So she shows up in the house telling Brian, don't go through with this. You're gonna die. They're gonna kill you right when you get to the drop off. And then that's when Roman shows up and he's bullshitting his way past these the Cubano people or whatever.
He goes, hey, essay. So how much is Vernon paying y'all to keep tabs on us? He goes, you would think that somebody could remove the mole off of you.
Oh yeah.
And everything for the much as he's been paying you.
Oh yeah.
And everything. And he goes, let's see what's inside the boat. He goes, man, just Brian. Brian comes out. Next thing you know, they're being held and everything until they make sure that the boat is clear. Of course, Eva Mendes winds up sneaking out the back, and then that also indicates that she's not even there. And then that's when we cut over to Vernon's house to where he asked her, "So, where were you?" "Oh, I was out with some friends."
Yeah.
And she goes, and he's like, "Friends?" He goes, "Yeah, I can have friends, Vernon." And so after that winds up happening, that's when we break into the whole entire thing with Hedge.
Oh, yeah.
And where they're playing this big old huge misdirection thing, which I didn't even spot when I was first watching the film.
Yeah. I mean, then again, like they said, these guys are good. They know their stuff. I mean, when you have Brian, an ex-cop, I mean, he's by him on the other side of a wanted poster. This brings the more juice. Like, he's better when he's not a cop. When he's not portraying a cop, but he has the cop knowledge. I liked him so much better in terms of that person as his character progresses or as the movies get later on. Like, I liked him as that, being able to have the knowledge, because he has so much fun being on the other side. Like it was very, very fitting in the Fast and the Furious. He liked being on the opposite side, where he felt like he belonged more there than he does as being an FBI agent or a cop. Like, I mean, that's what I liked about Brian's character as they progressed him as the movies moved on.
Same here. It seems like his character just got stronger and stronger as within each film, which is something I liked. I like the transformation of Brian.
He's a driver.
I mean, yeah. Then on the day of the mission, Brian and Roman began transporting dual bags of Vernon's money, but also too, remember the mechanic. He's like, "Hey man, you got some NOS?" Because that half bottle, he goes, "Man, you don't need NOS for this. You don't need no NOS for no American muscle." He goes, "Man, I have something else planned out for this." And I don't know about you, but I was wondering, okay, where are they going with this? Whenever I first saw this in theaters. But hold on 1 second. We actually have something from Brandy.
Yeah.
She says that her favorite part is ejecto ceto. Yeah, that's my favorite part though too. We're gonna get to that in a few minutes. Paul Walker is way better as a bad boy. Yeah, because he did try to do something that was outside of the element of Fast and the Furious before, Blue Streak, I believe, or something like that. Not Blue Streak, but something else that he did with Jessica Alba.
Into the Blue.
Yeah, Into the Blue. That's the one I'm thinking about.
No, that was kind of lame, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he was trying to do something outside of his element, aside from Fast and the Furious. But
yeah.
Then of course, this is where Enrico and Roberto riding alongside to accompany them before the window is set. And then of course, Withron decides to call in the police to move in for the arrest. Now, I love how the camera angle pan angles to his wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. Like that when he's staring at his wife and kids, and he's like, he has to make that moral decision, calling the cops early or wait. He decided to do the right thing and call the cops in early. So I think he jumped the gun on that one. But I mean, Vernon wasn't going to show up anyway. So and then Brian was able to pick up that the cops were coming soon, and that's when Roman's like, "You know what? Screw this! I ain't going to jail again." So he steals the Spanish guy's car and starts and has that car crash into the cops. But the two guys that work for Vernon, they're posers anyway. They're a bunch of wussies. Like, they'd never been in a high-speed chase before, and they clearly never been in the car with Roman and Brian, who know how to get away from, who know everywhere which way you're coming for them, and yet they're scared. Like, dude, you're scared, ha ha. Like, they're kind of laughing at them because they're a bunch of posers.
Right. Even they call them out on their own BS, though, right? Because they winds up saying, "Oh, you never been in no high-speed chase, huh? You never expected that, did you?"
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's when they break into, "But we have one more trick up our sleeves."
Yeah.
And then he goes, and then looking at him like, "What?" And then all of a sudden, he breaks into Roman. He goes, "Ejecto ceto."
Yeah. I think that was after the switcheroo.
Yeah, the switcheroo. The switcheroo stuff is really good.
That was cool. I mean, the second time watching it and like seeing it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I thought that was pretty cool. Nice little misdirection. I think I liked like how like Brian's really good about his cars, because when they shot, because Brian was able to pick up on this later in the movie, because the police shot this arrow into his car, and that was controlling the computer screen. It was controlling everything. So Brian's like, dude, hold the wheel. I'm like, wait, what do you mean hold the wheel? Dude, hold the wheel. And then that just shows you how much of a wuss this guy was. So Brian's risking his life. He's jumping out of the car to pull out the arrow, and he chucked it into the cop car, which I thought that was like, I mean, so Brian's really good when it comes to his cars. I mean, it shows in the later movies about like when something happens to his car, he finds a way to fix it on the fly, and that's really cool.
Agreed. That's something that I really liked about that, and everything about how he knows how to fix something randomly on the fly while something else is going on.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really good. And then also too, there's also some misdirection with Vernon and everything, especially when dealing with the airport as well.
Yeah.
You know, there. But then of course, Then of course, this is what winds up happening though too. The drivers of the cars used by Brian and Roman, this results in a high-speed. Yeah, we already talked about that. With Bilkins and U.S. Customs also tracking them, the duo leads the police to a warehouse. Yeah, we talked about that. That's in my notes. Following the scramble. Yep, got that. We're driven by Tej and Suki. Suki, is that how you say her name? Suki?
I think it's Suki.
Yeah, Suki. As it turns out, the duo had switched cars and had escaped in 2 muscle cars. And I liked how it breaks into Luda and Suki. He goes, I owe you one, Tej. He goes, yeah, you owe me one, Brian.
And she looks at him like, no, you owe us one.
Yeah, and she punches him. And he goes, you also owe Suki too.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's also another thing too. Customs agents and Vernon's plane and convoy surround it, only to discover that they have been dumped into a decoy maneuver while Vernon is at a boatyard several hours away. And of course, this also leads into Roman going into the different direction and Paul Walker going to the other direction. Yeah. And Paul Walker is trying to press his ejection seat, and it's just not working. Yeah, and it's just not working.
No.
Okay, it's Suki.
Okay.
Suki. Yeah.
The FBI is so stupid in this one. Like, I mean, it's just like it's like, oh, I don't care, I don't give a rat's ass, we're getting him, and then when you find out, oh yeah, that's right, they weren't there. I mean, it just makes them so dumb and gullible, and like just like, oh, I'm so anger filled, I don't care, I'm not going to listen to anybody, I'm going to find him my way. I'm like, wait, what do you mean he wasn't here? Damn it! Like, and when he fails, he finds a way to blame everybody else, and that's the annoying part.
Right. And then at that point, too, Brian and them gets in the other muscle car to chase down the yacht.
Yeah.
And then I like how Roman's looking at him, goes, Brian. And he's looking at the yacht. He's looking back down. He goes, you're not going to do what I think you're going to do, are you? And he goes, yeah, you might want to hold on. And
yeah.
They wind up doing a whole entire thing of Need for Speed off the reel and going straight over onto the yacht. And
so Brian hates his muscle cars. I mean, if Brian was not going to do that in his own car, he's like, it just shows you how much he hates muscle cars. Like, for him to do that, because they got seriously hurt from that. I mean, it's just like, and it's just funny that it worked in this movie, but when they tried doing it in that Starsky and Hutch movie, when they're trying to chase after the Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, we're in like Ben Stiller's very famous car, and they go off the cliff, and the car completely flies right over the yacht into the water. This one, it lands perfectly on it, and I just like, yeah, physics be damned in this movie.
Right. There is no physics. As a matter of fact, speaking of physics, I was watching Jeremy John's review for Fast 9.
Yeah.
And he said there was get this, there's actually a guy who reviews movies and uses physics and everything. And Jeremy's wanted to ask him a whole bunch of questions and stuff like that. He's like, nah, there's no physics here. Even the guy said, he goes, there's no physics in this movie. So basically, he just has to turn his brain off though for 2.5 hours.
I mean, I got my tickets for it. I'm going to go see it tomorrow. I'm excited, but I don't care.
I'd love to see this.
I mean, I don't care about physics. I mean, like, I'm going in there to have a good time. If you go in there thinking Oscar movies, I'm going to bitch slap you because this is not that time.
But then, of course, once it reaches the yacht, the muscle car reaches the yacht and everything, and they're on top of it. That's when Roman gets Eva Mendes's character out of the yacht and everything and holds her at gunpoint.
Vernon, yeah.
Yeah, Vernon.
After he gets shot, though. Like, because Brian's shooting for the windshield. He shoots him once, and then Eva Mendes comes out, like, out from underneath. I'm like, how did she get out of that from that bad guy? Like I mean, I know she was in there, but I'm pretty sure she kicked his ass because she's able to pick up the shotgun. I'm like, yep.
I wish they would actually show a scene with her kicking some ass.
Yeah.
And gave her a little bit more stuff to do.
Yeah, not being the, like, kind of the honey distress.
Yeah. But then after that winds up happening, of course, the cops winds up coming and arresting everybody. And then Vernon is just looking at Tyrese, Roman, and he's just giving him that look. And then you see then you wind up seeing Brian and everything because you know he's going to kill you when he gets out, right? He's not getting out.
Wait, you're kidding, right? You're kidding, right? Which is funny because we don't see him again, like, ever. Like, this movie he's in.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to see, and I wish that Paul Walker was still around. Was a revenge plot designed by Roman, but not by Roman, but by Vernon. That's what I wanted to see, right? Where basically they have to do this mission because at this point and everything, basically it's like Mission Impossible, but with cars.
Pretty much.
And I wanted like a top secret mission or something like that, and somehow or another Vernon is actually connected with it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think that would have been a perfect revenge plot type of thing because you also have connectivity with Tyrese. You also have Paul Walker still alive and Eva Mendes.
This character. And then you can get Hobbs involved because Eva Mendes works in Hobbs's unit. In the unit of the DSS, Diplomatic Security Services or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that, and then Roman's like, so 3 bags, huh? And Roman being the like, you know what? Actually, it's 6 bags. And I had a feeling he was gonna steal some money. But I figured I didn't think he'd give up all the bags. And he's like, yep, he's just trying to get the FBI off his back.
And then also too, Brian steals some money. Roman steals some money.
Yeah.
And my favorite part is when Brian goes, man, quit acting like you haven't stolen any money when I know you did. Because, man, quit playing like you haven't stolen any money. Like you haven't. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, I know those bags are, that bag is light. Those bags are light. And next thing you know, it cuts into this scene and then it's over.
Yeah.
But this film is entertaining. It doesn't really hold up as well as the first one, even though I liked the first one.
Yeah.
And everything. It just doesn't hold up as well for some reason. But
for me, kind of the opposite. I don't think the first one definitely didn't hold up. This one holds up a little bit. Like I said, I mean, like, it's been a long time since I watched this, and it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, when I first watched it, I thought it was crap. And then again, I thought the first one was crap. But I kind of like this one a little bit more now when I'm watching it. Especially, I appreciate it more now because we're getting characters introduced in this one that were able to show up in the later movies. Like, and I like that.
That's what I liked about it too, to be honest with you. Because here's the thing: who would actually think that 30 years later that we would actually have other Fast and the Furious movies? This franchise has been going on since 2001. Yeah. And it's been skyrocketing since, making over $1 billion and overseas and then in the United States and stuff like that. So, you know, it's clearly no wonder why this movie is still a franchise today.
I mean, yeah. And then this one opening weekend made $50 million. I mean, that's pretty good for a movie without Vin Diesel, any correlation to the first one with this mentioning of the first one. But that's pretty good to make $50 million with a new director, with the late John Singleton. He's the director of this one. But Yeah, I mean, this movie is like, I mean, a movie when you think it's gonna like tank the franchise, it doesn't.
It
That's
really doesn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate it for what it is. This is still entertaining. You can also stream this on HBO Max right now.
Yeah.
For people that are wanting to watch the franchise and everything and get your Fast and the Furious fix, it's all the movies are streaming on HBO Max.
I think it's only the first two.
Damn. Okay, I take back what I said. I'm clearly a liar. But
I think Tokyo Drift's on Netflix, so they're kind of all over the place. But I mean,
that sucks though, man. I would love to just have one streaming service where all the movies are there on one platform to where I can just binge if I want to.
Point.
Well, each streaming service makes different deals, though. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So
they gotta air on HBO and to be able to get HBO Max. I don't know.
True.
I'm not an executive. I know how to do that. Run that a lot better.
So, is there any other final words as far as Too Fast Too Furious goes, or anything like that?
I do want to mention to our viewers. Now, okay, like stay with us here. We're gonna be doing the rest of the movies, but we're not gonna be doing in the order you think. So usually you would think, oh, okay, next they're going to do Tokyo Drift. We're not going to do Tokyo Drift next because we're doing the timeline that is actually the movie. Because once we get to Tokyo Drift, Han's there, and then he's not. Then you go into Fast and Furious, the fourth one, and wait a minute, Han's there. Han died supposedly in the third one. So we're doing it in the order of this. So our next one, when are we going to do the next one, John? Do we know yet, or
we can probably shoot for next week if we wanted to.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely want to pick up.
Well, hold on. I also have an announcement though too. In that first week of July, there's not going to be any shows as far as I go. The only show that I'm going to be doing with you and everything is going to be just Loki on Wednesday nights. But if you and Sean want to get together or one of your other friends want to get together and hold the channel up, I'm more than happy with that. Yeah.
I think we should continue doing it as soon as possible so we can get the franchise done before you go on your break. But we don't know when we're doing the fourth one. We'll probably do it sooner rather than later. So we're going to be doing the next one. Just to let you know, we're going to go right from Too Fast and Furious. We're going to go to the fourth one, which brings everybody back. So we'll do Fast and Furious. Then we'll do Fast 5 and then Fast and Furious 6. And how the sixth one ends, then we're doing Tokyo Drift because we're following with the timeline. So nobody gets confused as to, wait, they're doing this one, but Han died. But yeah, then they're going back to this one. So this one's going to alleviate any of the confusion we're doing. So don't fear. We're doing it not based on the theatrical releases. We're going to do it based on the actual timeline of how it works in the movies.
Right.
So I just wanted to give you guys that advice, let everybody know that we're going to be, the next one we're doing is Fast and Furious. So don't worry, we'll get to Tokyo Drift. It's because they didn't mention Tokyo Drift until later on in the movies.
Exactly. So let me just make this announcement. I know I said I wasn't going to do any shows from the, okay, so this is the way it's going to play out, guys. From the 1st all the way up to the 11th and everything, I'm going to be on vacation pretty much just for the podcast and stuff, but I'll still be posting movie news, stuff like that with our website and things like that, so you guys can still follow the page. I'll post some funny memes like I've been doing. It's just as far as the podcast side stuff goes and stuff, I'm not going to be active just on Wednesday nights only for Loki. But you know what, guys, here's the thing I want from you guys. I want you to go on ahead and head over to the audio only podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. And I want you going ahead and follow the audio side of things. And then also too, if you like a certain video, if you see something in our whole entire filmography of our recordings, watch those while I'm on vacation. It actually helps us in a big way. Also, giving us a like, giving us a share is great. Commenting also helps us. And also too, rank us on the Apple Podcast too as well. Not only just rank us on Apple Podcast, but also give us some comments, some feedback and everything, because that also gives a way for people to find us as well, so that way we can find our audience and everything even more, because we haven't reached out to everybody and we can't reach out to everybody, but nobody hardly knows anything about Movie Lovers Unite. So that's what I want you guys to do. So with that being said, if you guys want to, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and also on Pinterest at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there. And then, of course, going ahead and if you want to donate to the page, how do you do that? Just go to www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. Donate $5 to $10. But if you can't, I totally understand that. You guys don't have to. A simple like, a simple share goes a long way. And then also, too, if you guys want to, go ahead and follow me on Twitter as well at Movie Lovers Unit. Over there, I do a lot of tweeting over there, stuff like that regarding to the page and also to the podcast episodes that we're going to be doing. And then you can go on ahead, if you're a sponsor and would love to sponsor us, or if you want to be on the show, just go on ahead and email us at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And those are all the places that you can actually reach out to me at. And then follow me on Stereo as well at Movie Lovers Unit over there. Sometimes we do some shows from time to time over there on Stereo. So that's everything, everywhere that you guys can follow us at and stuff like that. Is there any other announcements that you wanted to make, Charlie, or anything?
No, that was it. I just wanted to warn everybody that,
Okay.
but timeline wise, that we're doing it like via the timelines, not by theatrical releases. So
Alrighty then.
Confused.
Alrighty then. So with that being said, guys, I just want to thank Charlie again, as usual, being my co-pilot for being my co-host on this channel. So with that being said, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and always until next time, guys, have a great and safe weekend, and I'll see you back over here in a couple of weeks. And bye-bye.